Oh, the sun is really bright. Hi guys, how's it going? Trying to find a filter, but never mind. Hi, hope everyone's having a good weekend. I wanted to just chat a little. You know I got a lot to say all the time, so today I just wanted to talk a little bit about like people's individual stories and like how important they are. I've come across a lot of people, especially in the business that I work in, as far as trying to combat human trafficking, and talking with a lot of other girls that have been in the game or in the lifestyle or in the sex industry. And a lot of times it seems like women have to, or people feel like they have to add extras to their stories, like for it to be valid, and that's not true. And I just want people to know that your story is your story for a reason. Like, your story is important because it's going to affect who it needs to affect. It's going to impact who it needs to impact. And if you're adding extras and trying to compete and compare to somebody else's experience, it takes away from the true meaning and the true, the true purpose of what you went through. And okay, so let me break it down a little bit. So, for instance, I meet a lot of girls who their stories are very similar. They've been, in abusive relationships, or they've experienced traumatic events like rape and abuse and overdoses and robberies and stuff like that. But sometimes it seems like people are trying to compete in whose story can be the worst, or whose experience can have more validity because they experienced something worse. And nobody's trauma is any less important just because it's a different experience. And it's really important to remember that some people's stories impact tons of people. There's world leaders whose experiences have impacted and helped thousands and thousands and millions of people, because that's what God intended for it to do. And God intended them to go through that experience because He knew that the majority of people could relate to that. But on the other end, there's some stories that may only be written to impact one person, and that's still the same impact. That's still just as the same of the same importance as that story that helps millions of people, because that one person's life is just as important as everybody else's. And if you don't share your experience honestly, that person may never hear it, and that person may never be able to relate to it. So, in the focus of women trying to get out of the sex industry and women trying to heal from that lifestyle, don't throw dubs on your story. Like, don't add or think that your story is not valid or your story is not good enough just because you didn't experience the same thing as the next person. So if I'm telling you something that I've been through, and it hasn't happened to you, that's okay. It's okay. Like, it doesn't make your experience any less worthy. It's still just as important, because there's things that you've experienced that I haven't. And if you had a great experience and you didn't suffer a bunch of trauma, but you got something, a different lesson out of that maybe I didn't get, that's just as important as my experience and what happened that traumatized me, that is helping other people. And I just think it's really, really important to just be honest and just be real. Yeah, exactly. Everyone's experiences are important, and you never know who you're going to impact. And by you adding to your story or subtracting from your story because you feel like it doesn't go with the majority, you're ripping the chance for somebody to be able to relate to you and for somebody to be able to grow and heal from hearing you speak on what you've been through. And everybody has been through something. Everyone has a story for a specific reason, and never downplay your experience, because you don't know who you're, ripping that or you're shielding, or not giving that another person the chance to be able to relate to you, because you're worried about trying to be on the same level as the next person. And that's not needed. Especially in human trafficking, there's statistics and majorities for a reason, because that's what's known and that's what's the norm, and that happens, but none of them are 100%. So we still need to hear the other experiences. Like, for example, the statistic is very high for people who are trafficked as children, that they come from broken homes or foster children, or anything like that. That's not my experience, and I still was trafficked. So what about the people that don't feel like that weren't foster children, that did come from good homes? They might feel isolated because they feel like, well, damn, the majority of people have been through this and this and this, so it leads to that. So what's wrong with me that I didn't come from that? So now I feel like there's something wrong with me because I did get sucked into that lifestyle, but nobody's speaking out about, yeah, it happens. I come from a good home. I have a father. I don't have daddy issues, and I still got trafficked. So if I don't speak out and let that be known that, hey, like, yes, that happens, and it happens this way, and that's the norm, but there's still this other side to it where it's a possibility. If I don't speak out about that and share that and be honest about that, because I'm trying to compare to the kids that did come from foster homes or did have bad experiences, then that person doesn't get to relate to me, and they stay isolated, and they don't get to heal, and they don't get to share their experience because they feel like the alien, or they feel like the minority in the, I'm sorry, not minority, they feel like the odd one out in the situation. So they're scared to ever speak up because they don't want to feel judged, and they don't want to feel like they're the weirdo. So that was just something that was on my mind, that I've been getting tugged at to kind of talk about. And I hope that everybody takes and embraces their experiences and shares them, because they're important, and you never know who you're helping. You really don't. So keep on keeping on, and keep on sharing what you've learned, and keep on growing, and keep on voicing it and being loud about it, and never trying again to compare and contrast, because you're not the next person is not you, and you never will be. So, embrace it. God put you through it for a reason. He got you through it for a reason, and the more you share, and the more that you are open and honest about it, the closer you get to figuring out that reason. So anyways, I'm gonna get to go get some lunch, and I just hope everybody has a great day, and stay blessed, and peace and love, and keep it real. All right, peace out, guys. Have a good day.